Hi guys, so this is Ram Martinez, GFB chair, and I'm here to talk to you about the second slide of the entity dashboards, sustainability levels and trends. So what is the composition of entity finance health dashboard? So as you remember, this was already discussed before, but we're only going to focus on sustainability level and trends. So we're going to focus here on the sustainability entity GVGTGE and total products. The way that is going to be explained here is I'm going to explain more on the overall explanation of sustainability, more on entity, and then for the products, because all of them is going to be have the same formula, I'm just going to tackle them in just one go. So recap of sustainability levels. This may already look familiar to you on what was the formula of sustainability levels. So meaning you can reach level 2, level 1, and level 0 of LCMC entity and product if you had reached this type of scenarios. If certain revenue is bigger than the cost, and if certain criteria is actually happened. I said I'm not gonna go through all of this. I assume that you already know this, but if you want to check out more, just check the G slide as well because it's gonna be easier. Alright, this one as well. Basically, this is sustainability level trend. So what are these? So these are the basis on how the graphs are gonna happen. So there are two types, ratios and profit losses. So ratio is basically the percentages based on the scenario of level 1 and level 2. Then profit loss is the absolute amount based on level 1 and level 2 scenarios. So as you can see, for example, for LC level 1, level 1 ratio is direct revenue minus direct cost. Oops. And then same, if you're going to look, is level 1 here, if direct revenue is bigger than direct cost. So they are quite related to each other. Level 2, direct revenue and total cost. Then level 2 is direct revenue should be bigger than total cost. So that is how you would calculate what is the ideal trend of this one. Same application to MC as well, and products as well. For entity is the only one that is relatively different, because if you're going to look at the entity sustainability, they are based mainly on the profits of LCMC entity. So total revenue minus total cost. That's it. The reason why it was made like this and not like level 1 or level 2 as compared to the other types of sustainability is because entity sustainability, level 1 and level 0 and level 1 is only basically profits, right? Meanwhile, level 2, there's nothing special, there's no special formula on this one. It's basically you will reach this if MC and LC had reached level 2 as a whole, both of them. So that's why, since both of them, since entity sustainability is gonna focus on profits anyway, then we just had it on profits. Then the scope of calculation. So this was already discussed before. For sustainability, we're going to focus more on 12 months data because we want to avoid the extremes. It's gonna be more holistic, and we avoid the fluctuating cash flow patterns. Calculation of 12 months data is, there are three types of 12 months data that's going to happen. So 1819 executed is basically calculated data involved here are submitted executed data since 1718 until 1819 ends. So by the first month of 1819, which is August 2018, the sum is from September 2017 to August 2018. So by the second month, it should be by October 2017 to September 2019, and so on until the last month of 1819, which is July 2019. It will have the 12 months of since August 2018 to July 2019, which is basically the entire term. So as you can see, there's always 12-month progress. 1920, similar application, just different, just 1 year forward. But as you know, 1920 is an ongoing process. Well, for those months with executed not available yet, the amounts would be 0. So that means, so this is an example for it. So by the time of this upload, the available executed data is only until September 2019 as of now. So for example, first month of 1920 is August 2018. So meaning it covers since September 2018. That means 12 months data is already available. October to September, all 12 months is available. November to October 2019, because October 2019 data is not yet available, then 11 months executed data is available, which is to add. Well, the last month is just 0, then another month again, so 10 months executed data plus 2 months empty. So you can see how the pattern is gonna go. 1920 budgeted. Now the thing here with 1920 budgeted is not as the same application as the 1920 executed, where you check the budgeted data from last term and this term. No, it's going to be budgeted data of this term 1920 plus the executed data of 1819. The reason why 1819 budgeted data is not included for the 12-month 1920 budgeted is to be able to focus only on 1920 progress coming from the 1819 current state, and to compare 12 months 1920 executed. So it's more on how we are going to compare progress at this point, and also because the way we do budgeting, we always base it on the financial state of the entity. There are also a lot of times where entity can have do too much over budgeting. So if you're gonna do budgeting, you always have to base it on the current reality anyway. So that's why for 1920 budgeted, the data involved is 1819 executed and 1920 budgeted. So for example, example is from August 2018 to July 2019, because this is 12 months the 1819 executed data, right? So this is the baseline. Then September 2018 to August 2019, meaning the first month of 1920. So 11 months of 1819 executed data, which is September to July, plus 1 month of 1920 budgeted data. Then October 2018 to September 2018, so meaning 10 months 1818 executed plus 2 months 1920 budgeted, and then the pattern will continue on until the July 2018 to June 2020 is 1 month 1818 executed plus 11 months 1920 budgeted, and then the last would be the last month of 1920 would cover August 2019 to July 2020, which covers all 12 months 1920 budgeted data. So this applies. This logic applies to a few other financial indicators and calculations as well, by the way. Now let's talk about LC sustainability ratios and profits. So you may see once you're gonna go to this type of dashboard. So if you're going to click here at sustainability entity, you can see immediately this type of graph, this graphs and tables and sections. So first part is LC sustainability, then MC sustainability, then entity sustainability. So I'm going to talk about LC sustainability level strength. So first part is the table. So the tables is basically showing progress in a numerical equivalent on ratios and profit losses. So these are the different parts of this one. So at the left, you got, they are divided into executed and budgeted. So executed and budgeted so that you can easily compare different ratios and profit losses. So from up until for under executed up until July 2019 is use 1819 LC executed 12 months data. Then as of this upload, the one that is available is up until September 2019, which is use 1920 LC executed data. And then while those months that are still empty, then you can, while some monthly data of 1818 are not yet available, those months in the future here would show these results as what would happen if the LCs would simply stop operating all at once. So meaning, if in case, while you can see, while there is no results yet for the next few months, you can already see what could actually happen. Now, in terms of budgeted, so the budgeted actually starts up and by July 2019 data. So this is the same results as the one on LC executed trends. This is just like for the base start line. Then the rest of the one here in the purple part is use LC 1920 LC budgeted 12 months data, and then since all of the data is already available, so the numbers here would show what would happen if the LCs were actually able to achieve their monthly goals for 1920. So you can already foreseen the projected sustainability results ahead of time, while your 90/20 executed is still in progress. So these are the two graphs. So you may remember this back in the dashboards before, where there are graphs for ratios comparison and then graphs for profit losses comparison. But the main difference here is there is the budgeted results, so that you can see how the projection based on the 1920 budgeted is going to work. So you can see if based on your budget, are you gonna do better, or are you gonna do worse? Yeah. So similar application as well for 19 executed results. While those things are not yet happening, it will show what if all LCs would simply stop operating. The thing here, if you're going to look, the ratios looks like there are times that looks like the executed, it looks better than the budgeted in terms of ratios, because ratios is basically based on percentage. But if you're going to look at the absolute amount of profit for the past 12 months, you can see is the amounts are actually dropping by, as you can see. So this means that even though that it would look like that your ratio is doing good, it's mainly because your profit is dropping hard in comparison to the budgeted plan that you wanted to have. Yeah, so that means you still have to continue submitting your survey, even if it looks like the projection is looking good in the ratio part, but in terms of absolute part, it's actually looking like it's dropping. So just continue doing the survey so that you can see a better projection of what's happening. So these are LC sustainability trends, what ifs. So what if LC level 2 trend is bigger than 0? So what if, based on this table, you can see what will be the results, right? So if LC level 2 is ratio of profit is greater than 0, that means LC direct revenue can cover total costs. This means LC exchange can fully sustain the entire LC. What if level 2 is below than 0 but level 1 is bigger than 0? Then this means LC exchange operations cannot sustain entire LC by itself, but exchange operations can fully support its LC operation costs. But what if both LC level 2 and level 1 trends are below 0? This means LC exchange operations is not enough to sustain the entire LC and operational costs, meaning in order for LC to survive, it has to be operating at high level of non-exchange activities, such as BD, conferences, events, etc. Now going to MC sustainability. So similar pattern as the one in LC sustainability. So I'm not gonna really go through here this much, but basically whatever happened is similar pattern to LCs. For this one as well, for trends and for the trends, similar idea on how MC sustainability trends is actually happening as well. So you can just see the idea on how the progress is gonna work. And for this one, I'm going to focus more on the what ifs. So if MC level 2 trends is bigger than 0, this means MC exchange plus entity affiliation fees can sustain at least 70% of MC total costs with lower dependency on non-core operations, BD events, and etc. We cannot avoid doing BD and events in an MC level, because of course those are essentials, but that's why the level 2 is quite necessary, because if the core operations can cover at least 70%, that means majority of the things that you've been doing has been doing good. Then if MC level 2 is lower than 0 but bigger than but MC level 1 is bigger than 0, that means MC core revenue cannot cover at least 70% of total MC costs, but the total MC revenue can cover the total MC cost. This means MC is, in order to be able to survive, you need to operate at a high level of non-core activities. So you could say that MC core revenue can only cover 65%, while the rest is by non-core revenue, or like 40% is only coming from exchange and entity affiliation fees, and the rest of the 60 is coming from BD events, conferences. So those are the things that you need to think about. Then what if both trends are below than zero? That means total MC revenue is not is lower than total MC cost. That means you are already running on a loss. And if this happens, you must discuss with your MC with an issue. So do not let MC level trends to be lower than zero. Entity sustainability ratios and profit loss. Um, So sustainability trends entity. So as you remember, the ratios for entity sustainability is actually called profit margins, and you remember this type of similar pattern as the one with LC and MC as well. Yeah. So I'm gonna focus more on the oops, sorry. Before going before moving forward, so as you can see, the entity sustainability level comparison shows the monthly growth graph of profit margins and losses, as you can see here. But in terms of the graphs, there's actually three types of graphs instead of the two, because this one is comparing in LC, MC, and entity comparison already. Because this is not based on like level 1 or level 2, this is split from LC, MC, and entity. Now the what if scenarios here is basically if the results of profit margins is above 0, below 0, is basically means that if you are on a profit or not. Yeah, so take note, in a profit loss entity, as mentioned already before in the previous slide, entity efficient fee revenue internal and cost internal are not counted. Thus, if there is a discrepancy, if you're going to total LC and MC data and it's not equal to the profit loss entity, then the issue would be actually based on your accounting, because these two accounts, the internal accounts, should counter itself. Yeah. To know more about it, go to the previous slide. Alright, product sustainability. So again, similar case as to the one that we have already been talking about. I'm not going to go through this one, but I'm going to focus more on the what ifs. So what if the product level 2 trends is bigger than 0? This means that product can fully sustain your operations and get a calculated portion of indirect cost. If level 2 is below than 0 but bigger than level 1, then this means direct revenue can cover direct cost of the product, meaning it can only sustain its own operations, which is still good. Then if level 2 and level 1 is below than 0, then this means that the product is cannot sustain its own operations. This means that product, in order to be able to operate, it needs support from other products or non-exchange activities such as BD, conferences, and etc. Now, for this one, because this slide I talked about the sustainability levels. Now, the next slides would be talking about exchange performance. So, meaning that one would be more on a monthly results. So again, thank you so much for listening, and see you guys on the next video.